Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Welcome
Hi.
to the Chick. We've got Jenna with us this week. Jenna
Woo-hoo.
Paone has returned. Welcome to Lit Chickmaka. I'm saying
It's our lit Chickmaka celebration.
I love that. It totally works. I feel
It
like chick is a
totally
very versatile front word. Yeah.
I know, I wasn't thinking that at all when we came up with the name for that, but,
Yeah.
but I think we've made it work for us in a variety of ways. Merry Chickmaka,
Merry
everyone.
Chickmaka. Spread it. Hashtag Merry Chickmaka.
Yeah. We're so excited to be here. I'm pumped to be back. And finally, Alex and I get to host together. We have been doing separate hosting this whole time. And today we are coming together for a very special holiday celebration to talk about some of our favorite holiday reads, holiday movies, holiday traditions, lots of really fun stuff. And we're going to have a great time. And we hope that you'll, join along. Please feel free to add things in the chat about your favorites and anything we miss. And we've got our wonderful Julie Gerstenblatt producing behind the scenes, killing it
Yay.
per usual, who we love. So thank you everyone for being here.
Yes,
Yay!
definitely. I know it's a season of coming together, so this is the perfect way to celebrate.
It is. It is. And there's nothing better in my mind than I feel like the full iteration of Christmas to me is I've got my cocoa and I've got my holiday book and the fire is on and I'm about to watch Love Actually. That is just like peak coziness to me.
Cozy vibes. It's perfect for readers too. I feel like, I mean, summer reads are a thing, beach reads, but there's
I love my beach read.
sand, the weather's unpredictable, there's
Yep.
something about cozying up with a blanket that is just definitely more my style.
Yep, especially the week between Christmas and New Year's. That is prime reading. That is reading week where you get to read all the new books you picked up, over the holidays. And that's and the holidays are over, so you can actually relax. So you finally get that time to just sit and
Enjoy.
read. Or
Yeah.
at least I did before I had children. Now not so much. But in my head, I'm maybe I can get a half an hour of
It
that.
will come back. It will come back. Yes. And read all books that you may have gotten for Christmas or Hanukkah as
Yep,
gifts. It's perfect time as
exactly.
well.
I
And there were
know.
so many great books that came out this year. I'm so
Yes.
grateful to all of the authors that came on Lit Chick to talk about holiday books this year. We had
Yep.
Jenny Bayless, we had Sonia Lawley, we had Jean Meltzer, whose matzo ball book
Yep.
is
So cute.
everywhere. I'm so thrilled that we got to talk to her during her pub week because I feel
Yep.
like it's been woo. So
Especially now because Hanukkah is over now,
I
right?
know.
It's oh, which is so anticlimactic.
I
I
know.
feel like having it right at the beginning, it's oh wait, but
It was Thanksgiving and Hanukkah at the same time, which was
yeah,
convenient for people who, their kids live far away and they can do it
yeah,
in one fell swoop, but at the same time, yeah, I definitely do not feel, sated by my holiday, I need more, therefore, I will do Christmas as well or
yep,
extend it, as long as possible because that's what
absolutely.
it's all about.
I'm a big fan of celebrating every holiday, regardless of whether or not I grew up with a tradition of I will use any excuse to celebrate. I'm just yes, bring on the parties, bring on the food, bring on the reads, bring on, the joy. Why not? Especially right now. We all deserve it, right? We deserve a
100%.
little more joy in our lives. And on that note, so are you a big holiday reader, Alex, usually?
I
Are you
am, yeah. Well, I was
yeah?
just saying the weather, especially if you live in
Mhm.
a cold weather place, it's such a perfect activity for the evenings when it's dark at 4:30 and you're just okay, I'm putting my pajamas on before dinner and now I'm reading. So
Yep.
absolutely, I'm a big holiday reader, and some of my favorite books are cozy time books. Or we were saying before in the green room, so many books start at Christmas and then
Mhm.
they take place in that exact moment between Christmas
Yep.
and New Year's, which is so perfect for
Yep.
plot too, because you have the time clock and there are these
Mhm.
traditions. So I love that stuff. And I'm a big holiday movie and TV consumer. There's so
Oh,
much
yeah.
good content happening on all platforms this
Yep.
year.
I know, I feel like Christmas and, holiday in general, movies film, like movies, TV, and books have like exploded in the past like
Absolutely.
5 years, and like it's interesting because I think Hallmark is a huge thing that's responsible for this because I feel like it used to be not cool to think Hallmark was cool, and then it became like very cool to like Hallmark, and then all of that like proliferated and became, there's always been holiday entertainment, obviously, but it's become like this very specific thing, and totally the rom-com thing like is
Yes.
is definitely like Mark, Love Actually. Of course, we're going to talk about Love Actually. Love Actually is like the
With a
quintessential
question mark, as if we
question
would
mark.
not.
Love Actually. It's so funny because I feel like Love Actually was sort of on its own for a while.
Yes,
Like
agreed.
it was kind of like a dinosaur,
It was
it was
the
like
movie, and then I feel
it
like
was
the memification of Love Actually has kind
mhm.
of helped the Christmas resurgence because
Yep.
people are just like, "Yeah, we wanna be a part of the discourse," and, like, so
Yeah.
many great actors. I was just gonna say this about Christmas movies, but, like, this is not for your Hallmark Channel. We've got,
Yeah.
Keira Knightley showing up, and then we
Yeah.
have Brooke Shields this year in A Castle for
Castle for
Christmas.
Christmas,
We
which
got
I watched. It's great.
amazing.
And Carrie
Constance
Eulis, like
Yes.
he's like, come on, Princess Bride, like
Huge people, and, soon to be Oscar nominated Kristen Stewart, was in
mhm,
The Happiest Season last year. So
yep,
it's like, this is a
yeah.
vehicle. It's a star vehicle.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
it's like the caliber, and it's interesting because every single streaming service has their like own thing, and they have their
100%.
own like, and there's certain rules. Like Hallmark is very rule oriented. I have a friend who's a Hallmark actor, and like it's very like there's a lot of rules to Hallmark scripts that people might not realize. Like when I wrote a script at one time and sent it to her, and she was like, "Yeah, there can't be two kisses. Like there's one kiss. It's the
One
final
person.
shot. That's the only thing that exists in like it's only one kiss at the end." And that's it. That's all you're allowed. And like it's fascinating. Like and the way they film them and how quickly they make like it's actually pretty interesting because they film them so quickly and they
Yeah.
film them all kind of in the same area of Canada. And like they like so like they have to like change the towns to make it look like it's not the same town. Like 'cause
Yes,
it's like the same town where they film it. Like
I love
it's
that.
it's just really, really interesting. And it's and yes, being a Hallmark actor is a thing, and being a Hallmark writer is a thing, and it's like a very specific, very like people are adore their
Yeah.
Hallmark actors. Like people get so attached. I mean, one of the reasons that the whole Lori Loughlin thing was like such a
Yeah, she's like a beloved.
like she's a big time name with Hallmark. It's a really interesting thing. Anyway, let's move on to the books.
Yeah.
Let's go with some books. And Alex and I kind of put together this master list of like all of our big reading recommendations this year. And like this is not a definitive list. We have missed some, but we have just like pulled out. There's so many good books out. Some that came out this year, some that have already been out. And we're just kind of going to give our recommendations in terms of like mood, like what you're in the mood for, because I feel like
Like
that's a very
astrology.
yeah, that's a very specific thing. Like, are you in a fun, happy party holiday mood, or are you like, do you kind of want to cry for a little bit? Like, which
Which wanting to cry is so there. Sometimes you
yeah,
need that.
we all want to cry a little bit around the holidays, right?
Yes. Especially if you're near your family members. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, the first mood we have is if you're in the mood for something jolly, which I think is like the most sort of generic,
Yep.
like
Fun
Christmas
Christmas.
spirit.
We want to be happy. We're drinking our cocoa. We're eating our cookies. Like this is prime Christmas vibes. Like we are
100%.
we are embracing the spirit of the season and a little bit goofy. Like I
Yeah,
think because there's something about Christmas and holidays in general that are a little bit silly and a little bit like, and that's one of the things that I think is great about the holidays is like we're kind of allowed to be cheesy and we're sort of allowed to like be like almost like it's the opposite of how we have to be like our cool cynical selves the
yeah.
rest of the year. Like we can just be like happy, like you can just be
100%.
childlike and innocent and sort of wide-eyed in a way that you're not allowed to be at other times of year. So
Agree.
kicking it off, I'm reading The Holiday Swap right now by Maggie
Mhm.
Knox, and it's so cute. It's about two sisters who it's the classic like there's all these Christmas
Swap.
jokes, right?
Yeah.
it's the classic, they switch lives. They're both bakers and they switch lives. One lives in LA and one lives in their hometown, in Northern California, and or like in the mountains. It's north of LA. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Big Bear or what, but like it's kind of that. Like I feel like it's like Big Bear Tahoe sort of vibes. And they switch lives because they both have a big problem that they need solved. So like classic switcheroo. It's so cute. So cute. I love it. It's great. I can't recommend it enough. And next on my list is 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis. I haven't read it yet, but it looks really cute. Two strangers get trapped in a car together, and then a lot of things like I read a review of it that was like Leah Lewis uses up every single like a moment of coincidence, like or instance of coincidence that like anyone could ever use in a novel, but it like works because the whole point of the book is like sometimes fate like just makes you see it. That's a cool kind of vibe. So I'm gonna kick that off with those two.
Yeah. And I talked a little bit about the matzo ball, but I'll plug it again, which is this Hanukkah book, which you're so blessed to have. I said this when I interviewed Jean, but like there was a gap in the marketplace and she just filled it. And the book is romance, but like so much heart and so fun. I mean, there is like shenanigans in every sense of the word with like things falling apart and like crazy big mistakes that I think definitely plays into that vibe of like go big or go home. Like it's the holiday.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Oh no. Did we lose Alex? Did we lose me? I'm not quite sure. Hello? I'm not sure if we lost me or we lost Alex, but we'll figure it out. Hello, are we back? Did we lose me or did we lose you?
I was taken by the ghost of Christmas past. I don't know what happened. I was just like,
oh no. And now we lost Alex for reals. We'll get her back on. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about some other great books that that really get me in the holly jolly spirit. One is The Mistletoe Pact, Joe Lovett, so cute. Hi, I'm just going on the list. I'm continuing on.
I don't know what's happening over here.
The show must go on, Alex. I am
broadcasting from a foreign country and then here in my parents' house and being eaten.
Oh, which is great. Like I'm actually also at my parents' house for the weekend, and like we are like that's my makeshift.
There's nothing more holiday than being at your parents' house.
Yeah, so we're embracing this. Culture. The only thing we have to do now is like go out to the hometown bar and see like everybody we went to high school with.
On time, check.
I love it. Awesome. So we were talking about I had gone off and I had talked about the next book on my list, which was The Mistletoe Pact by Joe Lovett. But let's circle back to the matzo ball because it's so fun, right? And we were talking like there really was a need for Hanukkah, like a really good Hanukkah book in the market. I don't understand where they've been. Like
I don't know where they've been, and I was looking too for our list of like a Hanukkah movie that felt like in the same area. And like we have the Adam Sandler, we have the Seth Rogen, like the bro Hanukkah movie is covered, but we do need a Hanukkah romance. So this is my plea, whether it's matzo ball movie or something similar.
The only thing that comes to mind, and I almost put this on our list, but I didn't. Like it is a Jewish family. Is This Is Where I Leave You? Like, I feel like that is like we need that version of we need Hanukkah movie that has that vibe with 100%. Like big family, like kind of family like
drama coming together. The thing that's tricky, and Jean talks about this, is that Hanukkah is not like a major Jewish holiday. And so there's been some like talk online of whether or not we're like exploiting Hanukkah and making it capitalistic, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to say, I mean, this is just one Jewish woman's opinion, like, bring it on. Like, let's go. I like eating food. I like twinkly lights. I like romance and family. You may use this space.
Would you prefer if it was like a Rosh Hashanah? Like
Well,
like
let's
with
see with Rosh Hashanah. I mean, Rosh Hashanah is joyful, but
with
it's followed by Yom Kippur, which is so
right.
somber. And then I feel like I mean, you could a
Which
rom
would be ripe for comedy. Like, I mean, like,
100%.
Alex, I feel like you are the woman to write this book. Maybe you
Yeah,
could
maybe that's the challenge is if we can write a Yom Kippur romance. I mean, we'll have to see if our viewers are into that.
would
But
anyone read that
it's like
book?
having an Ash Wednesday
Yeah,
romance. We're
the
like,
Ash Wednesday, the
I don't know.
classic Good Friday read.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that that's a space, but we're always
Oh
looking
my
for
god.
new content.
That would
So
actually be hilarious. Like as a recovered Catholic, I would like highly like I could write that book.
yeah.
I could write the parochial school like Good Friday book. I feel like would
It's all about finding your niche. I think that we may have unlocked something important here. Yeah.
there we go. We're gonna make it a thing.
Amazing.
Moving on, like so this also so we're gonna talk about specifically British ones a
Yeah.
little later. But we have to talk about Jenny Bayless, both
Yeah.
of her books, 12 Dates of Christmas and A Season for Second Chances. And Jenny was a guest with you, Alex,
Yes.
earlier
The
this
loveliest person. So glad I got to talk to her.
lovely. She like sent me her mince pies recipe and like the cutest ever. And her books, I have to say, both the 12 Dates of Christmas and A Season for Second Chances are some of the most enjoyable books I have read
Yeah.
in the past like 5 years. Like I think she is an excellent writer. Her story is excellently crafted
Mhm.
and it's so cozy and it is just the right amount of conflict and just the right amount. Like sometimes you're either a little too heavy or a little too light. I feel like she nails it.
He nails it
Like,
100%. It never feels too like treacly or anything
yeah.
like that. And it's some big issues that she's dealing with, but
Yeah.
yeah, so cozy. I mean, I don't want to say that it's like I'm an Anglophile. I love all the British stuff, but
Same.
you do get that experience. You get
Yeah.
the fireplaces and the seaside. I mean, it's vibey.
Yeah.
So
And
highly
12 Dates of Christmas is, I think, like such a great high concept book. Like just the idea that like it's this dating service where she
recommend.
signs up for 12 and it, the main character signs up for this dating service where she gets 12 dates with 12 different guys over the course of December. And it's like perfect holiday book because it starts right at the beginning of December and it goes all the way through and it's just like lovely and everything. It's like they're decorating gingerbread or like they're doing, something
Yeah,
else
there's
that's
so many
really
activities. Yes,
yeah.
100%.
She clearly had, like, a really fun time making the list of those activities,
Yeah.
and it's just, like, so comforting and cozy, and I said this to Jenny when, like, in the chat
Yeah.
when you guys were doing your interview, but 12 Dates with Christmas was the first book I read after I gave birth to my daughter last year
Yes.
when I was heavy postpartum period of like, and it made me so happy. It was like the best thing
Yeah.
about the postpartum period was reading that book
Yes.
very, very
It's so
slowly.
comforting. I feel like that's the word almost more than cozy. It's like her
Yeah.
books just feel like a big, like, hug, which
Mhm.
is so it's very specific, but check it out for sure.
I love it. And we've got a couple others like um Holly Jolly Jolly Diwali is another like
Yeah.
great like offshoot of the holiday genre, which adds some much needed inclusion. Like I mean, I'm
Yes.
glad to see that books are getting more inclusive and movies, and I'm glad to see on that note, like we have you mentioned single all the or no, you mentioned Kristen Stewart's book,
Yes. The
Happiest
happiest
Season.
season.
And there's also Single All the Way, which
Yes.
is
I've heard good
starring,
things about that.
I haven't watched it yet, but I can't wait. I absolutely, love Michael Urie. Like, he
Yeah.
is so great, and he stars in that, and he that looks like a great, book, both, like, sorry, great movie, both in the LGBTQ space, and, like, I think it's so great that we're seeing more of those stories being
100%.
told too. Like, we need to move away from the there's this idea that there's only one type of holiday story, that
Yeah.
there's only like, and so many people feel like, so many people have secular, celebrations of holidays that have nothing to do with like traditions that they were brought up with. Like it's just a great way to like learn about other
Mhm.
celebrations and a great way to like I feel like sharing your joy of
100%. The
the way
message is so universal. It's just
yeah.
joy and togetherness. I feel like yeah. And it's great too because it's a way in for people who may not otherwise reach out and learn about those communities that they
Mhm.
know that they love Christmas movies. It just feels like a very kind of
Yeah.
happy meeting of those two things.
Yeah, it's like it's actually like a very like I think that's the type of thing we need more stories that are just normal stories
Yeah.
about normal people that, focus on maybe something outside of the same story that's been told over and
Yes.
over and over again for all of time. that that
Yeah.
like one part of the population is what the story should be about. And like
Thank you.
which, speaking of, do you have any super fun holiday traditions in your family that like either are like maybe something that like is unique to your family that like nobody else like this have something weird. Like I want your weird holiday
Yeah.
tradition in your family.
I'm trying to think of, like, I mean, first of all, everything about my family is weird. They're the best, but, like, it doesn't matter what day of the week, something weird's gonna happen. But I think we're big game night people. My family is
Mm,
super competitive, and so that's always how
nice.
we've spent it, playing games, and that's, like, sort of what we're all kind of waiting for after we finish our dinner. And we recently this year played this game, a new game after Thanksgiving. I think it was called the Donner Dinner Party. It was literally, like, about the Donner Party.
How about the dark?
And the premise is like accusing people. It's like which trial levels you accuse who's the cannibal. It's kind of like all of these games like Assassin.
Yeah,
And
it's
my
like mafia.
family,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, exactly. My family is ruthless. My mom is a genius. She's a lawyer. And so she's always playing these things like, where were you? Like, da da da, I've connected the dots. And everyone's like so abrasive. My brother's so sneaky. My dad's so funny. We get like really, really into it. Like feelings happen. And I always think that those are so fun. And we've had a lot of fun recently because we've been apart with
Mhm.
Quiplash, which is a game that you can play remotely on your phone, which has been
Oh,
like so nice. And we've managed to
that's
explain
cool.
it to older relatives too and have, people play from all over the states, which for my family who's very spread apart is like a
Mhm.
nice solution for not being together. So
That's really cool. Do you have a big family?
I do have a big family, yeah. My
Yeah.
my the core 4, me, my brother,
Yep.
my dad, and mom are super duper close, and
Yeah.
then we'll bring other people in, but I feel like I almost need to say when they're gonna play the games with us, like, "We're doing this, like, for real," like,
Our way. We're doing
this
we're doing
isn't
house
not
rules.
supposed to be fun.
Hoops house rules. Hoops house rules, which means we're actually gonna fight to the death and then
Yeah,
eat you, just like in the
100%.
dining.
And we just got a we have a big Scrabble family too, and my parents, I don't know how much this thing costs, but it's a gorgeous piece of furniture. They got an elite Scrabble board that is like wooden with like drawers and
Oh,
like
I've
the
seen yeah.
tiles. I was like, okay, elevated.
All
This is
right.
this is an
I know.
heirloom now, the Scrabble board.
I feel like my family's the opposite. Like I've always tried to get my family to play games together and like nobody wants to play games. Everybody's like, no. Like, why
Well,
would I do
that's I've seen this TikTok trend that I like sent to my brother because it's so him of like me when someone explains the rules of a game to me. People just like eyes glaze over. They're just like, that sounds complicated. Just like,
I like so I'm like such a joiner and I
yeah,
like want I'm like, let's do this and let's all be the like this thing. And everybody's like, oh like and they kind of go along with me because I'm like very persuasive
that
and like I won't take by persuasive, I mean like demanding and pushy and won't take
yeah,
no for an answer. But like everyone's sort of okay, like can we just like do something else.
yeah,
Like, but we do like, oh, cool. Oh, Margaret says we don't play games, but we do puzzle during the holidays. My
yeah.
sister-in-law's family is a huge puzzle family. They always have a puzzle out, and I like everyone helps with someone always does the last piece to be able to
The
that
completer. I like
oh, I kind of love that. That's like a great that needs to go in a book. Like that's like such a cute little book thing of like if you had the puzzle being completed over the course of
Oh,
the
I
book.
like that. We're coming up with some good
We're
ideas.
like
I'm
writing our
actually
holiday
writing
book.
these down. This is like a
I
very
know. I
generative
feel like yeah, I feel like we need to do like holiday book, like this is really just
100%.
an Alex and I
I
brainstorming
know, but we
session.
always
So
do this.
and yeah, Alex and I were like, well, what if we do this? And we write
Yeah.
this book next, and then we'll do this one.
Copyright
I don't
lit
know.
chick, everyone. Just kidding. You can steal one.
Oh my god, that's gonna be our publisher name, isn't it? Like Chick Publications.
Yeah. You heard it
I
here.
love it. Yeah, our family, so we have like we're very serious about Christmas. Like
Yeah.
we are a Christmas family. And like my brother who is like does not like make believe or like any sort of thing, like has never been like he's like sort of like a grumpy Santa bear. He
Right.
is like the most Christmas, like he is Kevin McAllister. He is like, if it's not like this, it can't like we are such an aggressive Christmas family, and like both of our spouses, my brother and I, like same like core four is like very close, and like
Yeah.
we kind of had to prepare our significant others of like, you need to
It's so
understand how our family does Christmas. And like, it's so aggressive. Like, we each have two stockings and like,
I
we
love
go
it.
nuts with presents. Like, we're just like that family that's super annoying because like like, and every year, like, everyone's like, it's going to be a smaller Christmas this year.
Right, and then you're like, "Oh."
My best friend and I have a joke where every year we're like, it's gonna be a lean Christmas this year in the fit. Like, it's gonna be a lean Christmas. And then like it's just like there's somebody like it's just insane. Like it's
Yeah.
stupid. But we
Yeah,
our collective love language as a family is giving gifts, and it's
I
very
love that.
stressful. It's very stressful for other people who are not like, my husband hates gift giving.
Mhm.
He's like, can I just give somebody cash? Like,
Yeah.
can I just like
Which, I mean,
like, and I'm like, no, like our gifts are like so specific. It has to be something that like nobody asks for. You like, you have to like pick the thing that you think will be like the perfect present for that
yeah.
person at that time in their life. But it's like,
Oof,
it's
that's so
very
hard.
stressful. It's very stressful. It's gotten less so over the years, but it was like very highly competitive of like who's gonna get the best gift. And
Yeah.
we all kind of open them in order, and like
Oh my goodness.
everybody has like their gift that they have to open first of the
Yeah.
year. And it's like, because everything else will kind of relate, like the stockings and like, and in our family, like stocking gifts are just like small packaged gifts. So like like
What's inside?
like a stocking gift is like sometimes the crazy gift. Like we just love it. We just
I love
love it.
that.
We did, like when I was little, my parents did a something special every day
Mhm.
of December. So like
That's so
starting on
cute.
December 1st, like instead of like, we also did Advent, but like because we weren't that religious, we did something special. So it'd be like special cookies at night for dessert, or like we'd all sit and read Christmas books together.
Right.
Like there'd be a
Oh,
new
that's
Christmas
so sweet.
anthology or like a new Christmas CD, and because CDs, because
Yeah, CDs, remember that?
90s.
I do, even though I am a whatever younger millennial. I
Yeah,
remember
I'm an
CDs.
elder millennial and Alex is a younger millennial, and we always talk about how there's a difference between the elder. Like, I'm, like, still over here talking about my rotary phone when I was, like when I was,
Yeah,
like
we found a Hanukkah CD because we were looking for something to play while we were lighting the candles, and we have all this children's holiday music of this such a genre, which is really just haunted. I mean, it was nice at the time, but there's something about children singing. My brother and I agreed that we were like, I don't know if this is like fun vibes
oh
anymore.
my god, I love it.
This
We
is
have
sort of like
we have
ghost story happening soon.
still have this CD. So there's this like collection of like instrumental Christmas music called
Mhm.
Windham Hill. And it's like very 90s, like it was extremely 90s. And it was
Mhm.
all like, but it's actually beautiful. Like it's very like Celtic-y and like,
I
and
love
there's
that
one,
too.
it's like Celtic, it's like Windham Hill Christmas Volume 3 or whatever. And this CD is everyone in my family's favorite Christmas CD.
We're
And
like, crank that.
but we have one copy of it. Yeah, yeah, and it's like obscure, like
Of course.
religious carols that like
But I
nobody
love
wants to live, like, and it's like easy listening guitar, and like it's so silly, but we love this
yeah,
CD, and it
good to
does not
know.
exist online. It's extremely hard to find. It's on no streaming services. It's on nothing, and so we still have this one CD, and we
Rare.
all steal it, just like the puzzle piece that
Yeah,
Margaret said her. Like we all steal this CD. Like currently, I have it in my possession, and we steal it from each other, and
amazing. I
we
love
love it.
that.
Moving on to some actual like Christmas entertainment, some other books just going down, like In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, um, and The Mistletoe Pact by Joe Lovett. Great. All of these are like super fun. And for movies, like I would put the vibe of these with like Four Christmases and Elf.
Yeah.
Um, and
House is so legend. That movie is great. I remember when it came out and it was so good, but it's had like sustaining power. I think that's how you know,
yeah,
like, returning to it.
yep. And I'm gonna put like every Christmas episode of The Office in with like goofy, fun, holly jolly. Like there is just nothing like the Christmas episodes of The Office, especially
Yeah,
Benny at Christmas. Like it's such a classic for a reason. I feel like my husband and I always watch that one like at some point, like Christmas Eve. Like
definitely.
we like watch that like while we're wrapping presents that we didn't wrap all month, and it's like 4 in the morning and we're like losing our minds. That's like what we watch when we do that. And some of the rom-coms that we mentioned, Love Hard. This is
Yeah,
really cute. This is new on Netflix this year. It's about an LA based dating columnist who meets someone on an app that she thinks is her dream guy, but it's actually this guy from her
he kept
past.
yeah,
He like catfishes her, and then
I have
he
that saved.
promises, yeah, he promises to set her up with the dream guy. The dream guy like exists.
Yeah.
Looks really really cute. Um, and we said Single All the Way and Happiest Season, both of which are on. And then I'm going to make my plug for Christmas in Connecticut. And Alex
No,
has
you
heard me talk
gotta.
about this.
You
Christmas
gotta.
in Connecticut. Barbara Stanwyck, 1940s. I'm a big classic, old school movie person,
Mhm.
especially at the holidays. Barbara Stanwyck is amazing. This is every rom com ever. I am shocked by how
It's the
hilarious.
blueprint.
Yep. The first time I watched this was like 3 years ago. I couldn't believe I had never seen it. It is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. Barbara Stanwyck plays like a homemaking columnist. There's lots of columnists and journalists in
Yeah.
Christmas
It's
lists.
because that's the columnists and journalists that are writing these screenplays.
Right. They're like, I need to write something on the side. It's a columnist. Which is very uh, you know, Sex and the City vibes, which were, and Just Like That is premiered last night, which we're not even gonna get
No, we're
into.
not gonna get to. Put a pin in that one.
Yep. But Christmas in Connecticut is so funny. She plays this food and home. She's like Martha Stewart,
Mhm.
basically, but she knows nothing about food or homemaking, and she's a workaholic and she's single. It's like your classic, like she has no family, but she pretends to be a wife and mother, and then she has to basically pretend that that whole life, like she has to entertain her boss and this war hero that is coming like for Christmas, and it's this big event that the like and she has to pretend to be married with a baby and
Oh
like
my
and
gosh.
be a great cook, and she like she knows nothing about any of this stuff, and like her with like childcare is like me learning how to have a baby, where she takes the baby and like just puts the baby down and is like, I'll just leave it in this room, like she like leaves the baby in the room, but like it's it's insane. It's like crazy, and it's 1940s, so like you get
Yeah,
some.
well, that's a very, like I like the way you described it because it seems like it has a progressive sort of, like,
It
feminist
does.
angle for its time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That
Yep.
that that role isn't for everyone or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Christmas in Connecticut, gotta check it out.
Do it out. And now moving on to, so if you're in the mood for like a little heartfelt holiday, so if you want
Mm,
your heartstrings tugged a little bit, like if we want some feelings with our holidays, my number one recommendation always is the Winter Street
yeah, Miss
series
Ellen.
by Ellen Hildebrand. It's a classic. I read it every year. I read it again. I always have audiobooks and regular books
Yeah,
going, and I always read the Winter Street series in one of them. Usually, actually, I listen to the audiobooks now
nice.
because
Which are so
because
nice, I feel like around the holidays, I've been doing that a lot more too. Because if
mhm,
you're wrapping gifts or you're cleaning up or you're
cooking,
traveling,
yep,
like, it's so much easier just to
yeah,
listen.
and it feels like you're watching a movie, and like this her like this is like the ultimate, like I love a good family like trope, like I love the big crazy family trope
Mhm.
in holiday literature and films, and like the Quinn family in her books is like so
Yeah.
lovable. Everybody's so lovable. My one caveat is like the last book in the series, Winter Solstice, she originally intended it as a trilogy, and then she wrote the fourth one. It's a little sad for me. It's a little too sad for me, so
Yeah.
I usually stop at Winter
Yeah.
Storms. I don't
I
read
prefer
Winter
to
Solstice.
remember this happy. Yeah, I've read Winter Stroll, which I, like, love so much,
Yeah.
and I got it in the mass market size, which is
Yeah.
just, like, perfect stocking stuffer also if you just, like, want a little
Yeah.
tiny book, if you can read the print at
Yeah.
least. You
And
get your big gush.
I would still recommend getting and reading Winter Solstice,
Yeah.
just it doesn't always make the rotation in my yearly listen because
Yeah,
it depends
you
on.
gotta protect your heart.
Yeah, yeah. If when I'm in the mood to break my heart, then
Yeah.
yes, then we do that. And some of the others, uh, um,
I love the Santa suit, or I'm very, like,
Yes.
hype about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Incredible cover.
Yeah.
We love Mary Kay Andrews.
Mary Kay Andrews is a lovely, lovely,
Yeah.
lovely person. And like she is so good-hearted and this book just seems like it has so much heart. There's like, the classic like children thing in it and like there's, that sort of connection of people. Like it seems very, very heartfelt and I would all if you're not following Mary Kay on Instagram and
Please do
Twitter,
that.
I would really recommend following her. I feel like she's just a lovely
She's
person.
lovely, lovely,
Yeah,
and I've
like
heard nothing but, like, lovely things about
yeah.
her and the book, so
Yeah, yeah, highly recommend the Santa suit. The other one that just came out this year is Christmas by the Book that I've heard is really good.
yeah, I've seen that
Um,
around. Great
and
title,
it's
by the
like
way.
yeah, great, great title. And it basically involves like trying to revive this bookstore while like sort of making magic for people in the town. It seems like it's got a little bit of a Love Actually vibe where it's
Mhm.
like lots of different stories about people. There are some serious issues that delve into. So just bear that in mind. Like I always like to like let people know what they're in
Yeah, of
for.
course.
But it seems like it's a really lovely and heartfelt book. And the other person I think who nails heartfelt all the time is Jenny Colgan.
Yes. I know you're a big Jenny Colgan fan, yeah.
I love Jenny Colgan. I really do. I think she's absolutely lovely, and she like lives in Scotland and
Yeah,
like she lives like this dream life and like this
no,
sort of like Scottish like castle-y place and like she's
gorgeous,
yeah.
gorgeous, yeah.
And I feel like her books always like she does have some sad things, and I
Mhm,
actually feel like she does a really good job of bringing, like, political issues into books and,
mhm,
like, current issues, like, she has, like, Syrian immigrants in some of her books and,
mhm,
she talks about things that actually, like, are happening in the
mhm,
world and problems like immigration and she talks about homophobia and she talks about like all of these things and she does it in this lovely cozy package
right.
where you almost don't realize what she's doing
Mhm,
until you see and she's a big advocate for inclusivity. She's a big
yes,
advocate for kindness and human connection, which is increasingly like she's a big like her books often talk about sort of the life we all kind of lead, like, and
yeah,
how, and whether that's the best way to
the right
live life,
path,
like,
totally.
but she does it in a way that's not preachy, that it's just
Yeah,
fun and it's great. And her newest one is The Christmas Bookshop,
yeah.
which is I believe, a one-off. Usually her books are, like, kind of
There's
in
a
a
through line,
series.
yeah, I think
Uh,
it's standalone.
yeah, it's a standalone, and it's set in Edinburgh, which, I mean, if you've ever been to
Gotta
Edinburgh,
love
it's
it. Yeah, gorgeous city, yeah.
so
Is it
beautiful.
Castle for Christmas in Scotland, or is that made that up in my mind?
Yeah, no, that's set in Scotland.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you
totally
go.
Scotland. Yeah.
Scotland Chris I mean, they got the plaid going on. It's kind of like asking for Christmas to
There's
happen.
nothing better, and if you're looking to continue the celebration, like, Scotland has Burns Night,
Right.
which is in January, and it's, like, a lovely, lovely, like, cozy celebration, so, like, I say celebrate Burns Night too, and
Yeah.
because like, there's nothing more depressing than post-holidays, like,
Yeah, I know. January, I feel like I always on my calendar, I have a book that I'm gonna read in January, and then I try to do 2 social events to, like, truly, like, I know what's coming of, like, I'm
yeah,
gonna be big sad for, like, 2 months, especially in Boston, where you will not see the sun.
yeah.
I feel like for thinking ahead to your
Yeah.
January, February reading is, like, a mentally healthy thing to do, so
And we have that list too. Let's go down very
let's
quickly. Couple of other ones. Always in December by Emily Stone. A Very Nantucket Christmas by Nancy Thayer. That's two of her two Nantucket Christmas novels in one. It's a new collection that I think just came out this year. And great. Like both of those are super cozy and lovely and like also very emotionally low stakes, like in terms of like things happen, but like
right.
it's a nice like safe read for um and movies to go along with this, like It's a Wonderful Life,
So many
obviously,
good
a
movies, yeah.
classic. I watch it every year on Christmas Day. That's like our
Yeah.
tradition. We always watch it that Christmas Day, Christmas night, like on the
Mhm.
25th at night. That's when we watch It's a Wonderful Life. Um, White Christmas, which like
Yeah. My favorite.
warning, like trigger warning, like there are some parts of that movie that do
Age
not translate. Specifically the blackface, like that is
Yeah,
like a big, big problem, and like somebody needs to kind of like take that out of that movie.
agreed,
It's a big
agreed.
issue. But the movie itself is
Yeah,
great other than that. I think.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, it's a classic.
the
Meet
classic,
Me in St. Louis,
which
The
is also
Family
musical vibe. Yeah,
Family Stone, which is like
great
some people
movie.
really hate The Family Stone. I love it.
Some
Like,
people
I
are obsessed with that movie,
are
obsessed
they
with
like I feel like every time I talk to somebody, they're like, "Oh, I hate that movie." And I'm like, "I love that movie." It's like
yeah,
I think it's such a great Christmas movie, and it's so New England, like,
yeah.
it's like this New
It's
England
it's a vibe.
family.
If you recognize the family dynamics, per maybe it resonates with you more.
Yeah.
I saw
Another
you
Netflix.
put the Family Man on this list, which like, oh my god, sad vibes, but
I love The
sometimes
Family
you
Man.
gotta
I
just
love The Family Man. It ends happily. They
yeah, it
get
ends happily, it ends happily.
back
But
together.
the yeah, the pining thing, I don't know, I have, like, a memory of watching that in high school and being like, "Sticks with you."
I love The Family Man. Miracle on 34th Street, another, like, I love it. Love
Classic.
Gremlins is hands
For my
down.
dad, who I'm wearing his Gremlins sweater.
Gremlins is a classic. Gremlins and Die Hard. I feel like we needed to do, like, the offbeat ones and, like
It's a fair point, Dad. I would not categorize Gremlins as a if you wanna cry movie. Well, I don't know, maybe could be sad,
could be.
could
Home
be.
Alone. Like, I mean, let's pull it all out. Home Alone is, like, the best Christmas movie of all
A
time, but
perfect movie.
yeah, all these are so, so great. Another, 40s one is The Holiday Affair, which is, like,
I
another
haven't seen it.
1940s, like, black and white, like, really great rom-com. On this, British specific, like, if you're in the mood to hop across the pond, we've already talked about,
Which I
Jenny
often
Davis
am.
and
Yes.
Jenny Colgan. Also wanna plug Royal Holiday by, Jasmine Guillory. That's, like,
Or
that, it's so cute. It's like and it's like I like it because it's a different age bracket. It's like
mhm.
more midlife, like, it's not like it's,
Yeah, which is also true of Jenny Bayless's books, which I really
yeah,
appreciate. It's like, it's not necessarily a first love, you're seeing women in a different stage of life. I think that that's really refreshing, so,
yeah. That's especially a season for second chances is that it's like
yeah,
starting over in midlife, which I think is also a really important story to tell.
totally.
Um, and as we said, like, I mean, there's so many holiday movies.
So
Obviously, Love
many. The Brits
Actually
are
and The
very
Holiday.
good at this.
My
I
husband said to
recently
me yesterday, he was like, "I think we're ready for Love Actually." Like, we
yeah.
have to, like, ramp up to it, like, until we're like, Love Actually and The Holiday are, like, our prime, like, watches
Yeah.
in the middle of December,
I
like,
love The Holiday, another wonderful movie, another impeccably cast movie, honestly, just
so perfect. So
perfect. I
perfect.
recently did a Bridget Jones rewatch. I check in. I have to check in with that movie. It hasn't aged perfectly, but it is nice. And I also will say this. I think we were talking about this in the green room. I feel like it shows you like a woman who's working an entry level, mid level job in an appropriate apartment. I'm like very
Yes.
much thinking about depictions of like women in their 20s and 30s, what
Yeah,
it's really like. It's not like painted. It doesn't look like
yeah,
a home, Architect Digest. It's a real apartment. I appreciate that. So thank
yep,
you, Bridget Jones.
yep.
And I
And
love
thoughts on, like, Love Actually, because like, Love Actually is, like, a very polarizing movie now.
yes.
Like, some
I
people
feel like sometimes
hate
it's
it.
in the marketing of it. Like I'm not totally sure when you go okay, thank you, mom.
You're
Um, when you
This
go
is a family
into
affair. Your family's so cute. I love that.
adorable. But you're signing up for like a grown-up movie in some ways
Mhm.
too. I mean, like, I feel like I maybe Love Actually, I watched it. I think I was probably in college or something, well, maybe high school, and just remember being like, "Oh my god, like sex, like this is so like woo!" And so it's that
Yes.
movie for me, yeah. But
Yeah,
so fun, and the
yeah.
Brits are able to handle that subject matter. I won't say better than us, but I think that their humor about it is like it's very specific, and I think that they do it well, you
It's
know?
because all of the most conservative Brits came over and made America like and like settled America. So like we left the humor behind.
Yeah,
We
I
brought
know.
those Puritan ideals to like,
100%.
settle here. I'm with your
I'm
mom
not
though. Like Love
repressed.
Actually is a hill that I'll die on. Like
Yeah.
I kind of don't care that it's a terrible like so like here's my thing. I think a lot of the rom-com like because I grew up in like 90s, like I grew up in like rom-com golden era.
Yes, you
And
did.
like And, like,
Classic.
I actually miss rom-com golden era. I miss the classic rom-com. You don't get it now. You get more offbeat rom-coms,
Mhm.
and I love them, but I want that, like, big budget, like, people don't make, like, big budget rom-com. Like,
Yeah,
I just want Nancy Meyers all day, every day. Like, that is, like, what I wanna watch all the
yeah.
time. I love it. I love the, like, the earnest kind of, like,
Sparkly kitchens,
yep.
big, huge, sweeping, yeah,
I love it, and, like, I fully and it's a tough thing because I really do think that a lot of the relationships portrayed are unhealthy in
yeah,
those books, and they're not accurate. So I'm glad to see that we have a more accurate depiction of relationships and more agency for especially female characters, and, like, we're seeing a lot of different things now, which is all good. I also just want also big budget rom-com.
yeah,
Like, can we just tell
100%.
those stories in, like, a big glossy format? Like, I want the gloss a little bit.
I think that's true. I think COVID, like, because people aren't seeing things in the theaters as much,
Yeah,
maybe they like feel a little bit more scaled down.
yeah,
But yeah, I totally agree with you.
yeah, and I
Big,
love Love
big.
Actually. I also, like, was living in London right around the time of, like, Love Actually and The
Mhm.
Holiday, and so I think it's kind of like I mean, England is the Christmas expo like,
Yeah,
it's the best thing. If you ever get a chance to, like, be in London for Christmas, it's just the best ever. So,
the Christmas crackers, the
yeah.
crowns, a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm also gonna recommend, for these, like, this is, like, moving into our next, like, we'll go to, like, to post-Christmas reads
Yes.
from here, like, uh, uh, The Royal We and The Air Affair, by, they're both books about it's a fictionalization of Kate Middleton and Prince William and, like,
Oh,
their
fun. Okay.
relationship, and they're such good books. They're, like, royal experts. They are these women, they run the Go Fug Yourself site, which, like, is
Oh,
not as
cute. Yeah.
like, that for me, when I was, like, in college, that was, like, a huge thing that we looked at every day
Really,
because
yeah.
they're so funny.
Yeah.
It's Heather Cox and Jessica Morgan. They're both hilarious, and they, like, are royal experts. They know everything about stuff, and they, like, have been like, they're Anglophiles, and they're just such happy reads, and they're not specifically Christmas, but they involve a lot of holidays, and
Right.
because it's England, it's, like, the British thing, like, I'm just gonna plug them for a second because
I
I
love
love
it.
them.
But I
Uh,
love the royal stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Royals and The Princess Switch, we talked about
Oh
that,
my
like,
gosh, The
and
Princess Switch.
A
That
Prince
movie is just perfect. Chef's kiss. That is a movie to watch, like, for me when I'm home at my parents' house and everyone's gone to bed and I'm just like, I need to just my brain is here. I just need to slowly turn it down.
I love it. There's, like, a whole genre of, like, princess holiday. Like,
Yeah,
there's, like, royal holiday, which
yeah,
is, like, 2 of my favorite things. I'm here
yeah.
for it.
We
I'm here
love
for it.
princesses, we love holiday.
Yeah.
We
And
love a velvet sort of look, yes.
yep, keeping the holiday vibes going. Like, so we talked about, like, those books of, like, the books the most wonderful thing is, like, sitting down to read a book and getting to read it, like, the whole way through if you
Yeah,
actually have time, and, like, after holiday, I feel like that is the time, like, when I
yeah.
think about that week before between Christmas and New Year's, like,
Mhm.
when I had time and not a baby,
Yes,
what I think of is, like, sitting down on my couch and, like, reading and relaxing and just reading a
totally.
book. And One Day in December by Josie Silver, like, was
So
one of the
good.
best of
Love
those
it
reads
here.
ever. I've got it right here
This
too.
book is so good.
It's
So
so
good.
good.
It was a Reese's book club pick, so thank you, Reese. But I mean, it's just really good. And it's got the nice touch of like the Britishism, but not
Mhm.
overhanded. Like,
Yep.
it's like when you're watching Love Island and you're like, haha, like they use this funny word I haven't heard before. Very like in the know afterwards. But
I
it's
love it.
super cute book. Really well
It's
done rom
same
com.
kind of vibes, like We Met in December by Rosie Curtis
Yeah.
and This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins.
So
Like,
good.
I love a New Year's book, like, and that's a
Yeah.
New Year's book, which
Well, I
is
was thinking When Harry Met Sally, which is, like, one of my favorite movies ever, their, like, big grand gesture is at a New Year's Eve party. I think that there's something about that. Some people don't like New Year's Eve for that reason because it feels like the stakes are really high and you're like, "We gotta go out on a bang," but I do think there's something really romantic about New Year's Eve
yeah,
party, who you're kissing at midnight,
yep,
so,
yep, I
yeah.
love it. I agree. It's New Year's never lives up to your expectations, but I think it, like, I don't know, I like to try. I always try to make it happen.
Babe, shoot for the moon.
I try. Like, I don't know, it's like my lack of cynicism still carries over to New Year's, even when
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm gonna be home, it's gonna be a magical year," like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be I don't
You know,
know.
I read a funny tweet, because the past few years have been, like, so hard,
Yeah,
and I feel like, in 2020, everyone was like, "New decade," and then 2021, we were like, "Vaccines are coming." Everyone's like, "For 2022, how about everyone just, like, chill the F out?" Like, no one
yeah,
say anything.
no one say anything, tiptoe. Yeah,
It's almost like it's not even happening because I feel it's like we're jinxing it. I have
yep,
no expectations, no
yep,
resolutions.
yep,
I'm just
same.
marching in there. Whatever happens, happens.
I love it. This is the year of no resolutions, and I think, like, if I have any resolution, it's going to just be to, like, read and,
Yeah,
like, and just chill
100%.
out and, like yeah, I love that, and, like, the yeah, everybody this is yeah, what was the tweet? It's like, "It's not gonna be your year." Like, just
Yes,
tiptoe
exactly.
into
This is not gonna
like,
be my year.
nobody f nobody spook anything, nobody jinx it for anyone,
Yes.
like,
If you are
let's
listening, if you have no expectations, you can only be pleasantly surprised. That's sort of my like life motto recently.
let's all try to be pleasantly
Yeah.
surprised. Just everyone just chill the fuck out.
Thank you so much, Julie. That is
Alex hoops.
true. I need to take that advice and I also will give that advice.
Ditto, ditto. Same here. And, you know, uh, bringing in the happy vibes, like, I do wanna say, like, I know that January and February are tough months, and, like, especially right now in these years, like, that's why I truly believe, like, read what makes you happy. That's one of the
Yes.
reasons, like, I love to read happy books, like, because happy books make me happy,
Yep.
and, that is a hill I really will die on, even more so than Love Actually. Is like, read what makes you happy, watch what makes you happy, like, consume the stuff that makes you happy and, like, feeds your soul instead of, like, what you feel like you need to consume. And on that note, finishing up, like, some of the rest of, the things I would recommend for, like, New Year's Eve
Yeah.
like, New Year's reading, City Baker's Guide to Country Living, Louise
Another
Miller, we love
encouragement.
her, and, like, that's, again, not a specific Christmas book, but it goes through, like, all the holiday it goes through a whole year. So, like, you
Right.
get everything. So, like, you can read it and, like, go through the Christmas stuff, and then, like, fall in New England, Christmas in New England, then spring, and then we hit summer,
It's
and
perfect,
it's
and
like
it's a whole element of holiday stuff, which we haven't quite touched on, which is, like, food. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we both love to read
How have
about
we
food.
not talked about that?
I know.
All of these books have great food in them, like, every
Great
book does.
food, great food, great baking. My mom is, like, such a big fan of these holiday baking shows, like, just
Oh, yeah,
addicted to them, but I
me
feel like,
too.
yeah, these books all have really good snacks, and that's an important element of reading too. Like, you get a plate of ginger snaps and, like, a warm cup of cider. You can, like, sustain the read for 3 or 4 hours.
Oh,
It's
100%. Like, that's like you can't not have good food in a Christmas read in my like, or a holiday read
Yep,
in general. Like, honestly, you can't not have good food in a book. Like, I mostly read books for food,
yeah,
so, like, recipe suggestions. But yeah, Louise Miller is an amazing pastry chef. Like,
yeah.
follow her to, like, on Instagram to, like, see all of the most amazing
Amazing
recipes
stuff. I
to
see
her.
she's been doing some of the Great British Bake Off, like, trying to do it,
Yeah,
herself, which I feel like it's always a fun challenge
yeah.
too. Like,
I would I love Great British Bake Off, and I love the Great British Bake Off, the Christmas ones, and
yes,
I think I'm a pretty good baker. I would massively fail on that show because I know nothing. Like, they pull out the most random
I
things
know. Most
for the
technical
technical
challenges.
challenge.
I
Like,
feel like they have to give them at least, like, a list of, like, "We will probably
yeah,
say blank," because otherwise,
it's,
how?
like, always some obscure, like, Danish dessert that, like, was served in, like, the, like, Middle Ages, and they're like and it's always made with, like, pistachio and orange
Yeah.
and cherry, and, like, they're, like, such I also feel like they would think that, like, I would be like, my flavors, like, American flavors are, like, very different from British
Yes.
flavors, like, British flavors are all, like, like,
Much more sophisticated.
spices and like dark chocolate like layers like the orange and stuff and our flavors are like sugar cookies with
Sugar
more
cookies.
sugar on
Which
top.
I love. So my brother was home for Thanksgiving and Hanukkah, and we made my mom buy us those Loft House cookies from the grocery store that have, like, an inch of icing.
Oh, I love
When you eat
those.
that, you're like, "I can't even really taste it." All I know is I'm getting sugar just to the face.
Yeah,
Just that's holiday to me.
I love it. Same. I am a baking nut and I am a
Yeah.
cooking nut at the
Mhm.
holidays and like all I do is cook and bake and I love it.
And I like the mincemeat shout out too.
Love
That is some
mincemeat. I
that's
love a
great.
mince pie. I
Totally.
love a mince pie. Favorite thing to make at the holidays, Alex?
Oof, that's so hard. I'm a big cookie person. I have to
Mm.
say, I don't think I can sing the praises of a cookie enough. It's like the perfect size.
Yeah.
It's transportable. My
Yep.
mom just made some incredible blondies, which is like, with the
Yep.
butterscotch and white chocolate,
Mhm.
which I also love just a little
Yep.
taste of. And I love the peppermint. Oh my god, I love so many things. We got these ginger snaps. They sell them at World Market. Shout out. This
Yep.
is not like a plug, but they're like
Love it.
very thin. I think there's a
Yes.
Trader Joe's version too.
Mhm.
And
I
I was
love a
like,
thin,
how is that?
crispy ginger, like, I like going back to, like, the old, like, school Pepperidge Farm, like, ginger
Yes.
man, like, that's, like, the kind of ginger like, I don't like a gingerbread that's, like, too gingery. Again, I would fail at the Great British Bake Off. It needs to be, like
It's the snap thing. I also
yeah,
love whenever Prue does that. She's just like
yeah, the
there's like
snap
an
cookie.
audible element of
Mm,
the food.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
critical.
Yeah, I'm with you on the cookies. We haven't, for the past few years, obviously, because
Thank
of
you to my fiance.
COVID and, like, life things, but, like, we do a massive, usually, family Christmas
Yeah.
party with all of our closest friends because we don't have a big family, like, a big extended family anymore. So we do, like 150 person, like, party, and
Oh
I
my
cook all
god.
the food. I do all of, like,
Oh
the I and
my gosh. I see.
I do, like, fancy apps and, like, fancy cookies and things, and, like, I would bake for, like, weeks before this
Yeah.
thing. And I go very fancy. Oh, Julie, the cookies. Julie, I wasn't gonna tell you, I'm gonna make them this year, and I'm gonna figure out the recipe, and I'm
What
gonna give
kind
it
of
to you.
cookie is this?
Okay, so I took it from the Great British Bake Off, and these are my British cookies, and I made them for our writing workshop, and they're like a chocolate
Mhm.
sugar shortbread
Okay,
with
nice.
orange peel pistachios
There
and
you go,
black
iconic.
cranberries. They're, like, very British,
Yep.
and then I do a white chocolate glaze on them, and they're in the shape of lobsters,
Of
because my
course
book
they are
has
because you're
yeah,
JP.
because
That's
I had
right.
so many lobsters in my book, and
I love it, I love it.
we always brought snacks for writing workshop, and everybody
Yeah,
themed their snack to their book, so, like, those were mine,
love
and
it.
I'm going to figure out a recipe, Julie, and I'm gonna get them this year. I'm gonna do it. I couldn't do it last year, but I'm gonna do it this year, and I still have the original tab that I, like, pulled
It's
up.
still open on your
Like,
computer.
it's, like, still open. That gives you an idea of what my desktop looked like
That's
from
a true writer's life. You're just like, "Okay, story, inspiration, cookie recipe from
like,
100."
from 2 years ago. That's
You can't close
horrifying.
out, you'll lose it forever, so
It's
you got
horrifying, yeah, but I combined, like, 3 different recipes and, like, made my own, and Julie was like, "Give me the recipe," and I didn't
yeah.
know. Anyway, we're sort of I'm gonna get to that. We're sort of coming to the end here. A couple more, we already talked about, like, When Harry Met Sally. You've
Yeah,
Got Mail is, like, another great, like, it's not fully holidays, but it's, like, kind of about it. New Year's Eve, that movie, like, which is sort of like Love Actually. I know none
mhm,
of the American versions of those are, like, great, but, like, New
right,
Year's Eve is, like, sort of worth a watch, and, Serendipity. I like
yes,
I actually feel like Serendipity is a very, very, very well-written movie. I think
mhm,
it's a really well-written movie, and I think it doesn't seem like a well-written movie for 3/4 of the way, and then you realize, like, how well-written
awesome.
it actually is. Like,
My
it's
association with that movie, which I haven't read for a while, but when I was a tour guide at NYU, everyone was always asking about the hot chocolate because it's, like, such a draw when you're visiting your kids in the
yep,
fall semester, which
yep,
is that's another food item
yep,
placed in my
yeah.
memory.
Yeah, the frozen hot chocolate at Seren which is, like, great. I mean, it's delicious.
Yeah,
I miss New York Christmas. I
yeah.
hope next year I have my New York Christmas traditions too. Gotta
New
do.
York is good Christmas.
I love it,
It is
and the
good
other
Christmas
I wanna
everywhere.
plug this author because, like, she hasn't written much lately, and I wish that she would come back and write more, but,
Yeah.
Hester Brown, she's a
Mhm.
British rom-com writer, and she has a ton of books. She wrote, like, um, the Little Lady Agency series, which,
Yes. Okay, yes, I know
like
who
but she has 2 that I like well, she has a bunch of I love all of her books, but, Swept Off Her Feet and The Honeymoon Hotel, and also actually The Runaway Princess. All 3 of those are, like, amazing post-Christmas reads, and they
Oh,
all
great.
have Christmas at some point, like, in
Mhm.
them, but they're, like, really good, really good.
Very
And
cozy.
Hester, if you ever listen to this, please write another book. Like, I would love for you to write another
Well, thank you.
please write another book. Um, We should really
Yeah, we're wrapping
probably
up
wrap
soon.
up. Does anyone have any
Mhm.
questions, or I'm gonna ask like Alex, favorite all-time holiday read and holiday movie?
Well, I was thinking about this book that you mentioned on our call, which I think is not a Christmas book, but Little Women.
Yeah,
There's something first
yeah,
of all, I love that book.
yeah,
I really liked the movie, actually, the most recent one,
yeah,
and I think that, like, it's Christmas energy. I mean, obviously, there's
yeah,
Christmas scenes in it, but the
yeah.
sentiment is very, very warm, very cozy,
I
so
agree. That's my
that's a book
all-time
that I
favorite
wanna,
book.
like, revisit that I haven't read in a while, but I think that I might go back to. And that's
That's
more American Christmas, I guess you could say, although it's got some old world vibes, but
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Little Women is like the best. And actually both movie versions, I would say, are good Christmas watches. And like
Yeah.
I have to admit I'm a little partial to the Winona version because that was
Yeah,
like
that's,
my
peak
like
era. That's Kristen Dunst too, right? Is that right?
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Kirsten Dunst, Claire Danes, Winona,
Right.
like
All
everyone.
those early aught queens.
Susan Sarandon, like, yeah, like, it's like I mean, like, Winona, yeah, like, was, like, the queen of, you know and I will say that I think that the newer movie is also great. I was not expecting to like it, and I think it's lovely.
My main takeaway was I just really love Saoirse Ronan. She's
She's
a
great.
delightful person to watch, and
I
that was nice to see her in that role.
I can't get around Timothy Chalamet as Laurie,
Yeah,
though.
I
He's, like,
know.
too young for me, like, Laurie is Christian Bale, and, like, that's it. Like, he
We
is
we love Timmy, I mean, but sometimes it does feel like they oversaturate you with people. Like, "Go come back in a
yeah.
second."
Like, I think he's a good actor, I just don't think he's Laurie. I just don't think he's Theodore Lawrence, like, that's, like, my
Yeah.
ultimate, male hero, like, that's, like other than, like, Mr. Darcy, it's, like, Mr. Darcy and Theodore Lawrence
Yes.
are, like which Pride and Prejudice is also a really good post-Christmas
Yeah.
read, like
Well,
anyway,
and
those
Colin Firth and Bridget Jones, I'm thinking of this, final scene in the snow and the
yes,
sweet bumbling, like,
yes.
doesn't get more Christmas to me than that. I don't know why that's the image, but, like,
I
confused
agree.
man in, like, bad inclement weather asking for forgiveness, that's the meaning of Christmas.
That's the meaning of Christmas. We can't end on a better note than that, like, that is the meaning of Christmas. I love it.
For
Thank
me,
you ev
a Jewish woman who doesn't know, yeah.
I think you're right. I
Mhm.
support this. I strongly support that. Like, I agree. Like, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Only better thing would be if, like, there's some jewelry involved.
Yeah,
Like, do you get something? Do you
that's
get, like, a diamond snowflake necklace? Like, with
yes,
that, like, because that would make it, like,
draped over I love it.
draped.
I can see it.
I love it. This was so fun. I'm glad we got to talk holiday books and holiday movies.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you so much to Julie Gerstenblatt
you.
too for producing and being wonderful. It's so good to see you again, JP. I'm like,
It's so great to see you too. This
I
is
hope that you wear that hat in all of your future shows. It's working. It's
and
working.
I and should we announce that your Alex
Yeah, I'm
has some
taking
fun news?
I've got a new job, which I'm sure all of those who follow me on social will hear about shortly that is sort of lit chick adjacent, but I will be headed backstage, fading into the darkness. My technology already tried to boot me off, so maybe it's hearing, but still helping with lit chick from the background. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be working at St. Martin's Press. So if you're a fan
Yay!
of Casey McQuiston or Mary Kay Andrews or the lovely Rachel Hawkins, who was on our show, I
Great.
got the connects, which is very, very exciting. So
Yay!
there's so much more to come. 2022 is going to be
No
another
expectations.
year. It will
Quit
be another year.
2022 is just going to exist.
We will be there, and
It
we will
will
be
happen, and
there.
we will be there. All right. Thank you all for joining us
All
so much.
right.
We hope you have a
Merry
wonderful
Christmas,
holiday season
everyone.
and a very normal 2022.
Amen.
Happy holidays.